to me, you know, she's running through all these girls because they're not very good. I make it look easy.
In a sport built on chaos, Dakota Ditcheva is pure calculation, breaking bodies, erasing confidence, and turning every fight into a public execution inside the PFL cage.
Very difficult to put away.
This is not hype. This is a breakdown of how Dakota Ditcheva became the most terrifying striker in women's MMA.
I've got this different level of killer instinct that they don't see in a lot of fighters, and I think that's kind of what sets me apart.
Before we step into the cage, hit like, subscribe, and join the Band-Aid Battalion MMA, because real fight fans belong on the front lines.
I'm quite used to opponent changes, to be honest. You know, throughout my whole career, I've always had last-minute pullouts from girls, but
The first real warning shot, the moment the MMA community realized this was not just a prospect, but a problem, came against Cornelia Holm. Holm was the perfect litmus test.
In her last fight, scored a beautiful takedown in a rear naked choke in the first round.
She wasn't a flashy striker, she was a grinder, a Swedish veteran, tough, experienced, the type of fighter built to derail hype trains. The narrative going into this fight was simple. Holm would eat a few shots, clinch up, drag the fight to the floor, and suffocate the striker with old-school grappling. Holm was confident that rounds, grit, and veteran savvy would expose the young British striker. That belief died fast. From the opening bell, Ditcheva removed uncertainty from the fight. There was no feeling out process, no nervous hesitation. She closed the distance with a purpose that bordered on disrespect. When Holm initiated the clinch, her safe space, she found herself walking into a meat grinder. Ditcheva didn't just defend the clinch, she weaponized it. This is where the Muay Thai pedigree shines. In MMA, the clinch is often a stalling position. For Ditcheva, it is a kill zone. She secured the Thai plum, controlling Holm's posture with terrifying strength, and began attacking the body with knees that drained oxygen and optimism simultaneously. You could see the shift in Holm's body language. It went from, "I'm going to take her down," to, "How do I get away from her?" Holm was not outworked. She was outclassed. Each exchange widened the gap. Every time Holm tried to change levels, she was met with a knee to the solar plexus or a short elbow that sliced through her guard. Ditcheva attacked the body with the precision of a surgeon and the force of a sledgehammer. By the time the finish came, Holm looked less like a veteran and more like a warning label for the rest of the division. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. But that was just the beginning.
To put away.
If Holm exposed the skill gap, the next fight exposed something darker. What happens when disrespect meets discipline?
Fight, and I'm ready, and I can't wait to show you who is the real warrior.
Enter Valentina Scatizzi. If Holm was the professional test, Scatizzi was the emotional one. She brought the wrong energy from the moment the contracts were signed. Scatizzi wanted to play the mind game. At the face-offs, she pressed forward. The stares were intense. The intimidation attempts were blatant. She wanted a brawl. She wanted to drag Ditcheva into an emotional dogfight, believing that if she could make the pretty girl angry, she could make her make a mistake. Dakota Ditcheva gave her punishment. The fight began, and the difference in composure was immediate. Scatizzi came out hot, throwing looping shots, trying to create chaos. Ditcheva stood in the pocket, calm as a bomb disposal expert. From the first exchange, Ditcheva's jab snapped Scatizzi's head back like a piston. This wasn't a scoring jab, it was a damaging jab. It disrupted Scatizzi's rhythm, blinded her vision, and set the table for the brutality to follow. Pressure followed immediately. No retreat, no reset.
Nice right hand, drives it clean.
Ditcheva cut off the cage, forcing Scatizzi to fight off her back foot, a death sentence against a striker of this caliber. By the end of round one, the visual damage was horrific. Scatizzi's eye was swelling shut, turning purple and bulbous. The damage was visible and irreversible. Ditcheva saw it, and she targeted it. This is what separates elite fighters from good ones. A good fighter sees an injury and thinks, "I'm winning." An elite fighter sees an injury and thinks, "Target acquired."
That eye, ooh. we might not see number 2 with that eye looking at the judge.
Ditcheva began to thread shots specifically to the damaged side. Left hooks, high kicks, and stiff jabs peppered the swelling. Scatizzi was tough. Nobody can deny that. She tried to fire back, she tried to make it ugly, but she was fighting a ghost who hit like a truck. Shot after shot landed with surgical intent until the doctor had to step in. It was a mercy stoppage. The crowd roared, but look at Ditcheva. No excessive celebration. No theatrics, no screaming at the camera, just Ditcheva standing calm, barely breathing heavy, looking at her handiwork. That fight told the division something important. Emotion fuels her opponents. Precision fuels her. Scatizzi paid the tax for her arrogance, and the receipt was printed on her face. But critics still clung to one excuse. The eternal skepticism of the MMA community resurfaced. She has not faced a real grappler. She hasn't faced an American wrestler. Jenna Bishop was supposed to be the antidote. Bishop was a legitimate threat. An American grappler, a finalist from the previous season, and a woman who understood the grind. The betting lines tightened. The forums lit up. "This is it," they said. Bishop takes her down, wets the blanket, and grinds out a decision.
You know, her grappling is definitely lacking, so I'd like to expose that.
It was the classic striker versus grappler formula that has played out since UFC 1. It never materialized. The fight started, and Bishop did exactly what she was supposed to do. She shot for the legs. But Ditcheva's hips were heavy. Her balance was impeccable. Every takedown attempt died before it began. But it wasn't just defense. Ditcheva made Bishop pay a toll for every entry. When Bishop stepped in, she walked into knees. When she tried to clinch against the fence, expecting to hold position, she found herself in that vice grip Thai clinch again. Ditcheva utilized elbows that cut angles Bishop couldn't anticipate. There was a moment in the fight where you could see Bishop realize that her plan A, the only plan she really had, was useless. There was no panic in Ditcheva's eyes. No scrambling, just complete control. Bishop could not implement plan A. There was never a plan B. The finish was the culmination of total dominance.
Bishop back to her feet and goes immediately on the attack. Bishop in trouble.
Ditcheva walked her down, stripping away Bishop's weapons one by one until the referee saved her. Another blueprint shredded, another myth exposed. The wrestler argument was dead. Then came the fight that revealed Ditcheva's aura. The moment confidence evaporated in seconds. Sometimes fighters lose the fight before they even step into the cage. They just don't know it yet. At the weigh-ins, Hassna Jaber smiled. She smirked. She played to the crowd, dancing, looking loose. It was the body language of someone who didn't understand the gravity of the situation. She treated the face-off like a photo op. Ditcheva treated it like a target acquisition session. Seconds into the fight, that smile disappeared forever. The bell rang and Jaber tried to move, tried to be elusive. Ditcheva cut the cage instantly. The pressure was suffocating. Jaber found herself backed up against the fence, the worst place to be, within moments. Ditcheva unleashed a barrage of strikes that looked like a blurred video. Knees, elbows, punches. It was overwhelming violence. Jaber didn't even have time to set her feet or throw a counter. She was dropped early, overwhelmed immediately, and finished in a violent blur. It was fast, it was ruthless, and it was telling.
Jaber looking out of her element here. She's hurt to the body. That's it.
The fight lasted less time than the walkouts. It highlighted a brutal truth about combat sports. Confidence is dangerous unless you are standing across from Dakota Ditcheva. If you do not have the competence to back up the swag, you will be embarrassed. Jaber entered the cage thinking she could compete. She left the cage wondering what truck just hit her. Still, the MMA world whispered. The goalposts moved again. Okay, she crushed the PFL Europe talent, but what happens when she faces a real elite? A UFC-caliber veteran? This was the final boss. Taila Santos was not hype. She was not a regional talent. She was a former UFC title challenger. This is a woman who went 5 hard rounds with Valentina Shevchenko, the greatest flyweight of all time, and many people, including the judges, thought she won that fight. Santos had strength. She had world-class grappling. She had faced the absolute best in the world. The PFL Global Season Final, the belt, the $1 million. On paper, this was supposed to be a war. Santos was supposed to be too strong, too experienced. She was the one who would finally bully the bully. None of it mattered.
Get in the cage and showcase my skills and shut them up that way, because I'm not really bothered about like proving them wrong, do you know what I mean? I just kind of get in the cage and prove to myself that they're all just talkers.
From the jump, Ditcheva met Santos head-on. When they locked up in the clinch, everyone held their breath. This was the moment where Santos usually tosses women around. Instead, Ditcheva held her ground. She reversed the positions. She turned the bully tactics back on the Brazilian. Ditcheva dragged her into a Thai clinch that felt like a vice. Knees slammed into the body. You could hear the impact through the broadcast audio. These weren't glancing blows. They were organ-displacing strikes. Santos tried to grapple, but Ditcheva's defensive wrestling had evolved to an elite level. She stuffed the shots, punished the entries, and kept the fight in her world. Then came the finish. It wasn't a lucky haymaker. It was the accumulation of body work. A perfectly placed knee to the body shut down Santos's system entirely. It's the kind of pain that bypasses the brain and goes straight to the nervous system. The legs give out, the lungs seize. No luck, no chaos, just precision. Taila Santos, the woman who almost beat Shevchenko, folded, gasping on the canvas, clutching her midsection. Ditcheva walked away like she had finished warm-ups. She didn't look surprised. She looked validated. That was the moment the conversation ended. The prospect label was burned. The hype train became a locomotive. Dakota Ditcheva is not climbing the division, she is erasing it. The question is no longer if she wins, but how? Who can stop her, if anyone at all? Drop your thoughts below. This is the Band-Aid Battalion MMA. Keep your hands up, your chin down, and we will see you in the next fight.